welcome to the SVG-TV News for Monday, February 8th. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. The law, which seeks to strengthen the enforcement of public health measures to stem the spread of COVID-19 in SVG, is now in effect. The measures were outlined at a news briefing hosted last Friday by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, where it was announced that there was community spread of COVID-19 in SVG. Among the measures which the legislation will cover is the mandatory use of masks in all public transportation vehicles and in all public establishments and private establishments to which the public has access. On radio on Sunday, Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves said the statutory rule and Order Number 4 of 2021 was gazetted on Saturday, February 6th. He said that the rules, restrictions, and measures must be adhered to, as there will be a fine from that should be from 100 EC dollars up to 500 EC dollars.
In the restaurant, there's $100. And the public place is an indoor place which is publicly owned or where the public has access. You don't wear the mask as $100. If you permit more than 10 persons in a bar or a nightclub or place of entertainment, or you yourself are the person in charge of the restaurant, and you breach the rules, those are $500 fines.
The Prime Minister said that the wearing of masks on the road is not mandatory, even though it is recommended. He said that parents will be held accountable and will be charged if their children are found without a mask in specified places.
The wearing of the mask means fitted on to his face so as to cover his nose, mouth, and chin. And where a person under the rule is a child accompanied by a person who has responsibility for the child, the person shall provide and ensure that the child has and wears a mask in the manner required by the rule. But if a child who is 6 and over, you have to make sure the child wear the mask. The child wouldn't be penalized, but you would be with a fine.
The Prime Minister said that he has been in contact with the Commissioner of Police, who will be enforcing the law, and in some cases, public health officials. The PM also noted that the ticketing system will not see persons taken before the court, except if they refuse to pay the fine.
If you go to the court, if you say, no, I was wearing my mask, or you're not paying your fine and it has to go through the court to be enforced, the magistrate could charge you naturally higher, up to $500. And for those $500 fines, like if you own the restaurant and you don't follow these rules, you own it or operate it, or the nightclub or place of entertainment, the ticket of $500 would become $1,000. But notice, it's recoverable. There's not an alternative prison sentence. It's recoverable as a debt, a civil debt due to the Crown. But if you go to the court and you go through the whole processes, and the court were to make an order, and you don't obey the order, well, then the court can always imprison you, but that would be not for the offense, but for being in contempt, for not following their order now.
While supermarkets have not been restricted to 20 persons as part of the mass gathering protocols, shoppers must, however, wear a mask. It is also now mandatory that persons using public transportation wear masks, and that all public vehicles can now only transport a maximum of half their permitted number of passengers, inclusive of the driver and conductor. On radio on Sunday, PM Gonsalves said passengers in omnibuses who violate the mask-wearing law will be fined 100 EC dollars.
You don't wear the mask as $100. If you drive in or ride in a public service vehicle, also the fine is $100.
The Prime Minister noted that drivers of public transportation vehicles will also be fined for exceeding the required number of passengers allowed at this time.
If you drive a public vehicle, if you are driving it, or a public vehicle more than 50% of the persons for which is licensed, you pay a fixed penalty of 100.
In light of these new rules and penalties affixed, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is encouraging members of the public to be cooperative and comply with all of the public health COVID-19 rules and protocols. The force said it will utilize its available resources, human, technical, material, and legal, to enforce the laws and regulations stipulated in the Public Health Act, Chapter 300, and other supporting pieces of legislations. And with omnibuses now mandated to reduce their passenger load to 50%, President of the Vincentian Transportation Association, Royron Adams, told SVG-TV News via telephone interview today that the government had plans to engage the association on the matter. However, to date, no conversation has been held. In light of the measures taken, Adams said they will be seeking to engage the government for a meaningful dialogue.
Off the bat, writing to the government would be our very first action. And hopefully then we would probably get some sort of response, since they had promised to reach out to us with respect to discussing the impact of the protocols that was being instituted, which they obviously acknowledged would have had adverse effect on the sector. But I haven't heard anything from them since.
Adams said operators were severely affected last year and the new measures will be quite challenging for them economically. He said while they understand that the measures are necessary to contain the spread of COVID-19 without external support, the operators will be under further financial strain and some of them may be found in violation of these rules and regulations.
We saw significant decreases. In fact, I personally can attest to that. I own 2 minibuses. There's significant decreases. I saw where when I used to make after paying my drivers and conductor $100 and $150 net, I moved to $50, $20. Sometimes income per day could even meet my expenses. I've already pulled one of my buses off the road. I'll probably pull the other one off pretty soon. I've heard many operators saying that that's it, they're going to pull off their buses. It's not only the reduction in capacity that's going to impact us, It's the fact that these new protocols are going to reduce the amount of people moving. So even if you're at 9 or 7, as it is right now, it's 7 based on how I heard the Minister of Health describe the protocol. Carrying 9 passengers, carrying 7 passengers, don't mean that we're going to find 9 or 7 passengers on the road to carry. Bottom line is, without a doubt, it's going to impact the industry adversely. It's going to reduce income significantly. And you're going to see drivers and owners who are under severe economic strain try to break the protocol for that simple reason.
The Vintas president also expressed his disappointment with what he said is the lack of provision in the 2021 budget for the public transportation system and its operators.
By no means are saying that this protocol only affects us as an industry or as a sector. It doesn't only affect us. There's a number of other sectors that is affecting that no longer can go about their daily living and so forth. We recognize that. But in a $1.2 billion budget, I would have hoped that somewhere within that, considering and understanding the fact that we have spike in cases, that the government would have allocated piece of that $1.2 billion budget for sectors and industry that continue to suffer from COVID, most specifically our sector, the minibus sector. We've heard nothing about subsidy, continuing subsidy. We've heard nothing about reducing gasoline. We've heard nothing about any type of relief. I mean, I could not have been more disappointed. That's just me speaking as an individual and as the head of Vintas.
On Saturday, SVG recorded its 4th COVID-19 death. The deceased is an 88-year-old male hypertensive patient who was admitted to the hospital on January 28th. The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, said he died at 8:45 a.m. on Saturday from sepsis secondary to COVID-19 pneumonia. Meanwhile, the country also recorded over the weekend's period 113 new COVID-19 cases. 32 of these cases were recorded on Friday, 67 on Saturday, and 14 on Sunday. There are now 1,133 local cases of COVID-19. 6 persons have been cleared, bringing the total number of recoveries to 415. 864 cases remain active, and 4 persons with COVID-19 have died. 1,283 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since March 2020. NEMO said all positive cases will remain in isolation until cleared. All those contacts of positive cases currently in quarantine should contact the flu clinic in their district to arrange testing for clearance. The public is advised that the use of masks in public or private spaces to which the public has access is now mandatory under the Public Health 2020 Act. Public transportation vehicles may now only transport one half of the persons the vehicle is licensed to carry. NEMO said these measures are aimed at reducing the potential for any increase in the incidence of COVID-19 in SVG. 2,500 backed-up PCR samples that were at the molecular lab up to Sunday have been cleared. Chief Laboratory Technician Elliot shared the good news during SVG-TV's Viewpoint program on Sunday evening.
And they have tested every sample that came into that lab up to the 7th of February. Now, there are still going to be a few sporadic samples. For example, a test that we have as an indeterminate and that may need a rerun, or for whatever reason we may have to repeat a sample. So there may be a few samples, 30, 40 samples in the system that is still pending a test. But I am happy to say that at this point, we do not have the 2,500 samples we had backed up waiting for an analysis and a result in the system. And I feel proud to be leading a team of motivated and very committed staff. And everybody, as far as I'm concerned, everybody has shown tremendous commitment to the process. So, as it is now, we do not have a backlog.
While explaining the reasons for the recent backlogs, Samuel noted that even if the lab has moved past the problem, there is a possibility that another backlog can occur.
Tests as 24 to 48 hours. Whenever you have your test result stretching beyond that agreed on turnaround time, then it becomes known as a backlog in the system. Now that happens for various reasons. This is a very intricate process that we are doing here, and there are several impacting variables. First of all, there's a process flow, and I'll speak a little bit about the process flow. But we also have to look at instrumentation, we have to look at human resource capacity, we have to look at the availability of testing resources. So even if we have moved past the backlog that we had in the past, we have to be very mindful that there is a possibility that something like this may happen again in the future. Okay? So in terms of the process, workflow, if I think about all of the activities, the sum total of all of the activities that occur in the lab, I can basically divide that into 3 phases. There's what we call the pre-testing phase, the testing phase, and the post-testing phase.
Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves has indicated that he will be taking the Russian Sputnik COVID-19 vaccine tomorrow. 5 health professionals took the vaccine last Monday and are said to be doing well. In Parliament last Thursday, Prime Minister Gonsalves said he was in prayerful consideration on whether to take the vaccine. And on radio on Sunday, he said he was ready to do so.
I've decided that on Tuesday that I'm going to take the Sputnik, the Russian vaccine. I decided that I'm going to do it, and I got up Friday morning saying yes. You remember we got through an intermediary 20 doses. And
the Prime Minister is hopeful that following his first dose, more people would be encouraged to take the vaccine, which has been receiving positive reviews globally.
I've seen some responses from a limited survey done in Barbados and some commentaries by some people who are in public health in the region that I thought that maybe if I take it and people see, well, the comrade take it, and not just, I mean, vaccine in general, but certainly this this COVID vaccine and particularly the Sputnik.
Approximately 70,000 of the Russian Sputnik vaccines are expected to be ordered by SVG, which is also looking to source other vaccines outside of the COVAX facility. Lead scientist monitoring the SOUFRIERE volcano, Dr. Thomas Christopher, says the team has no reason to believe that there will be an explosive eruption anytime soon. He says if this changes, his team will update the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, who will in turn update the general public.
Wants the public to be aware that NEMO is the only source of volcanic information, the official source of volcanic information, and any other noise should be ignored. We have no reason to think that the SOUFRIERE is going to blow up at the moment, and once again, if we do, we will inform NEMO, and NEMO will take the necessary steps to deal with that situation. We're still monitoring. Our monitoring is getting better. More instruments are going in. Our techniques, the techniques that we employ are also increasing the number of techniques that we're employing. So we're trying our best to figure out what the system is going to do, and we will keep NEMO and the public informed.
Dr. Christopher also asked for persons living in and around the SOUFRIERE volcano to assist the monitoring team by sharing information if they notice any differences in the appearance of the volcano or any smells.
Basically, what we are trying to emphasize is the importance of local knowledge. Mm-hmm. The people who live in St. Vincent and live close to SOUFRIERE would have seen it almost every day of their lives. And if something looks different, they would easily see it. So one of the things I try and do is to engage the public, ask them questions, ask them about observations, what they see different, if they're smelling anything, because that helps us to figure out what is it we're seeing and if it's changed or if it's not changed, because I would not know because I don't live here. So local knowledge is what we're after. I mean, it's not something that people should be shy. If you see something, if you hear something, please let us know.
In giving an update on the samples of rocks that were sent to the UK for testing, Dr. Christopher said they should receive the results this month. He also reiterated that persons should desist from going to the volcano at this time. There are small eruptions happening which can be extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, NEMO, in its latest update, said that the new dome continues to grow with lateral spreading of material towards the north and south, with a preferred northward growth observed. It said that most active gas emissions are at the contact areas between the pre-existing 1979 dome and the 2020-2021 dome, as well as the top of the new dome. NEMO said the camera installed at the summit of the volcano on January 24th to monitor changes in the dome was adjusted on February 1st to allow clearer images to be received, and that 4 GPS stations are currently streaming data to the Seismic Research Center. It also noted that damage to vegetation from acidic gases emitted from the growing dome downslope of the summit continues to be observed, and that the Belmont Observatory is now occupied permanently by the lead scientist, and the monitoring network is now being done on a 24-hour basis. NEMO is reminding the public that no evacuation order or notice has been issued, and that it will continue to provide regular updates on all activities taking place at SOUFRIERE. And the Roads, Buildings and General Services Authority, BRAGZA, today said that it has completed renovation work on the Belmont Observatory Station. BRAGZA said the project saw the repair of 2 structures, the living quarters for the scientists and the monitoring station. The project was done over a 2-week period. The observatory station, which is located in Rose Hall, North Leeward, was set up to monitor the activities of the SOUFRIERE volcano. Dr. Thomas Christopher leads a 6-member team monitoring. That should be a 6-member monitoring team comprising 4 regional personnel and 2 Vincentians. $4.4 million has been allocated in the 2021 budget to 6 programs in the Ministry of Public Service, Consumer Affairs and Sports, including the new Employees Assistance Program. The programs for the ministry were highlighted by Minister Frederick Stevenson during his contribution to the 2021 budget debate.
Revolves around 6 program areas, which includes policy planning and administration, with an estimated recurrent revenue of $845,000, internal trade and commerce with about $650,000, public sector reform unit about $445,000, division of physical education and sports $1.5 million, the SVG Postal Corporation $800,000.
Minister Stevenson said that the mandate of his ministry is to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the public service, introduce new and improved measures for consumer protection, and enhance sports and sporting facilities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He said as a way of improving the efficiency within the public service, emphasis will be placed on transformation and modernization.
The ministry will work in collaboration with the Service Commission's department to reintroduce fully an appropriate performance appraisal system, commencing immediately with an appraisal form which is results-based and links to properly job description preparations. Madam Speaker, the focus is to develop and review mechanisms and tools for appraisals, ongoing evaluation of public servants to inform the promotion in service training and development and sanctions. Madam Speaker, you see the word sanctions came last. I don't want anybody to believe that as we reform the public service, that sanctions is the most important thing.
Minister Stevenson said they will also seek to create an enabling environment to support enhanced productivity within the public service through guidance counseling.
Sometimes a lot of our public servants functions under serious strain and stress. Sometimes some of them come to work with home issues and other issues, and they bring them to their offices and they can't perform to their best, Madam Speaker. And so one of the mandates of the Ministry of the Public Service is to ensure that when we spot these issues, we have the necessary personnel in place to offer counseling and guidance to our civil servants.
Opposition Senator Shevern John said that there is an alarming decrease in what is budgeted for youth development in the 2021 budget. In her contribution to the budget debate last Wednesday, John said that while the youth are the future of the country, the government continuously fails to create policies to capture and nurture their talents and creativity.
One would think that a government that boasts about having a youthful team would make an effort to ensure that all young people have access to the tools needed for success. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, this seems not to be so.
John added that the government has also allowed a number of sporting facilities across the country to deteriorate.
Playing fields and hard courts are allowed to deteriorate across the country. And almost every election period, they are given a green turf, some fresh paints, and a few small repairs here and there, and they are left to fall again in disrepair. Madam Speaker, the incomplete project in Diamond was opened in grand style pre-election. And just yesterday, the Searchlight newspaper reported that it is being used by residents as a football field and a public bath.
The opposition senator said young people are scared for their lives and are trying to cope with what's happening around them, noting that this would be a good time for the government to step in and help them.
The hotline does not offer such service, and sadly we have no other. Madam Speaker, no price could be placed on the mental health of our young people. Money have been allocated to continue the PAVE program, but I see no program to focus on the mental well-being of our youth.
While schools across SVG remain closed, teachers and students have been engaging in e-learning, which, from reports, comes with its own challenges. Mother of 3 primary school students, Denicia Edwards, said the online classes have been a great challenge for her and her children, noting that because of the lack of an appropriate device, her children usually have to use her phone to participate in the classes. Edwards told SVG-TV News that whenever she has to leave home, her children are unable to participate in the online classes. However, she noted recently, one of them, who is in grade 5, received a tablet from her school, and this has helped to make things a bit better. The mother of 3 noted that every chance she has, she will monitor her children's online activities to ensure they are on the right path. The children also shared their experience with e-learning, and while they say they like being at home, they admit that they miss the face-to-face classes.
For me, just collected a tablet from school. It's still kind of difficult because the kids have to use my phone and their father's phone, and when we are not at home, they cannot be in class. The only thing is when too much students on top speaking at the same time, it's breaking up and you can hardly hear what the teacher is saying. So they have classes almost every day. Yes, I do monitor my kids.
I prefer regular school because it's easier for you to learn and you could hear good and see better. And in school you can't see nothing sometimes, all you just hearing in people's background, big noise, and you can't understand what the teacher is saying sometimes. And when then you go back for ask, she did this.
And I like in school because I just learn. I just make friends in school, I just do work, and I just go out for break and lunch, and then go home. Learn, eat, and go for break and play.
A single mother of 2 children, Shanna Davis, said while she understands that it is very important to monitor her children's online activities, she is unable to do so most of the time because of work. Davis, however, said she is happy that there are online classes instead of the face-to-face teaching at this time, noting that she has a daughter in primary school who is sickly and believes keeping her at home will protect her from COVID-19.
One in grade 5 and one in Farm 2. My daughter, she's in grade 5 and she's sickly. And I think it's better she be home in class than to be out in the public because she catch corona. It could be dangerous. It's very important for parents to monitor the kids because sometimes the kids and them so terrible. They see the online class and they're doing something else. So I think it's important for you to monitor your kids.
Online class.
Why do you prefer online class?
To be safe and COVID.
Okay. Good. So, do you prefer online classes or going to school?
Online.
Why do you prefer online class?
Because when you go to school, you get corona.
Hard-working frontline worker Philiseana John commends her son's teachers for their hard work in ensuring that he is learning during this COVID-19 period. John told SVG-TV that the only challenge she has is being at work sometimes when her son has classes. However, she said his grandmother will monitor his activities to ensure that he understands the lessons taught through the online classes.
But really and truly, I would prefer him going to school, having a face-to-face, a one-on-one thing with the teacher and students. I mean, because I'm sure that he misses his classmates, he misses his teacher, misses her writing things on the board and stuff like that, as opposed to she's sending stuff and have to be sitting in front of their device. For now, because of what's happening, I think e-learning is the best thing that they could be doing.
I prefer going back to school, because when I'm at school I get to talk to my friends, we get to play on Tuesdays, we get to play sports, but when we're online teaching we cannot do all of those stuff.
Our news team also spoke to other children who missed the face-to-face teaching. They say because of internet service, most of the time they are unable to hear what their teachers are saying.
I prefer school instead of online class, because when in the online class, the Wi-Fi and connecting good, so you could hear the teacher, and then it gets you frustrated when you can't hear the teacher. It's making you focus.
Because when you're in school, the internet ain't go break up, and instead you're hearing the teacher, you could just write down the thing off the board. I want to go back to school because it is easier to look up on the board and write. I miss my friends and my teachers.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, the ECCB, is projecting that the $5 polymer note will be released by the end of March. The ECCB launched its family of EC polymer notes in May 2019 with the $50 note. The $100, $20, and $10 notes have also since been issued. The release of the $5, which was initially projected for September 2020, has been delayed due to a decrease in the demand for this note. The acting director of the Currency Management Department, Rosbert Humphrey, says that although $5 notes are in circulation more than any other denomination, it is the least demanded note. Humphrey further explains that the $5 polymer notes may not be issued in all of the ECCB member countries at the same time, as the commercial banks in each country have a different level of stock, which would determine when the new notes are released. The ECCB representative also encourages the public to continue to take care of the EC polymer banknotes. He advises against creasing, crumpling, and applying heat, as these actions can compromise the features of the polymer notes.